Democratic Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy of Florida is a member of the committee, and she joins me now. Congresswoman Murphy, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Great to be with you.
I want to start with something you said yourself on Thursday. I'm going to put it up on screen. You said this: the big lie, the pressure campaigns against state officials, the pressure campaign against the Department of Justice and his vice president, the fake electors, summoning the mob. All of this demonstrates President Trump's personal and substantial role in the plot to overturn the election. You said this on Thursday, but arguably by the end of July, your committee had proven all of this, and it sort of raises the question, why wasn't the Trump subpoena issued at the end of the summer, in July or August? Why now?
Well, as you know, we have been very methodical about our investigation, and we've been gathering additional information, and we've gotten new information even since the July hearing. And we have always pursued this investigation, calling in whoever we need to as the information, the facts detail. And so that's why you see that we have asked the central figure in the effort to overturn the 2020 election to turn over documents as well as provide sworn testimony.
If he doesn't comply, are you going to ask the full House to send a criminal referral to the Justice Department to force him to comply?
I won't engage in any hypotheticals at this moment, as the subpoena hasn't yet even been served. But what I will say is that with previous subpoenas, what you've seen the committee do is be very deliberate and take the response to our subpoenas on a case-by-case basis. And I imagine that we will also do that because we understand the seriousness of the charge of our committee.
Why not subpoena Vice President Pence?
I think that's comparing apples to oranges. The former president was the perpetrator, the central figure in orchestrating the efforts to overturn the 2020 election, whereas Vice President Pence was somebody who was a key figure in stopping that effort from being successful. And he, through his counsel, has been engaged with the committee, and we will continue to engage with him and make a determination, if necessary, in the future as it relates to the former vice president.
You know, when you think about former President Trump, former Vice President Pence, I assume if you had Pence's word on what happened in the conversation stream in the president, that he'd be a bit more of a credible witness than the former president. So why not put him under oath?
Well, we've had quite a few people who worked for former Vice President Pence appear before our committee and provide us with the information they had of those conversations. At this point, we are interested in hearing from the former president so that he may respond. What I will also note, though, is that whether people comply with the subpoena and come before our committee or not, it's not as if they are absolved of their role in the January 6th violent attack on the Capitol. It's just that other people will articulate what their actions were and what their motivations were.
The Secret Service, for me, in your hearing this week, the Secret Service obviously did not come out looking very good. Do we need an additional special investigation, special inquiry into the actions of the Secret Service, not just in and around January 6th, but the decision when the former head of his detail, Mr. Ornato, became the former president's deputy chief of staff? I guess, in short, did the Secret Service become a rogue agency?
As a part of our investigation, we've looked at all of the law enforcement agencies' response to January 6th. And as you know, we are still going through tens of thousands of documents that the Secret Service have turned over recently. I look forward to us calling back in some of those Secret Service officials who have knowledge about what happened and putting them under oath this time, now that we have additional information to gather their perspectives. And then as far as recommendations, that would be included in the report.
Are we going to see this report? I know we're not going to see the report before Election Day now, and we could have a debate about whether the voters should sort of see this before Election Day. But are we going to see a report before the end of the calendar year? I mean, you're under a clock here, so I assume you have to turn in something to us, right?
You will see a report before the end of the calendar year, but let me just say that this isn't about the next election this fall. This is about whether the sanctity of American elections here on out will be marred with violence and with fraud, because in a case where that happened, these people were not held accountable. And so that's the purpose of this committee, is to ensure that we tell the full truth, allow government officials to make changes to the system to improve our guardrails, allow the American people to make better decisions about who they elect, and also to allow DOJ to encourage DOJ to do their job.
Realistically, how much more time do you think the committee would need to finish this investigation up? Look, January 3rd is January 3rd. I get that. But if that deadline weren't there, how much more time would the committee like?
Well, there is so much information out there, and if we were allowed to proceed, I think that we should, because there are a lot of processes and institutional changes that need to be made so that we can guard against anybody, irrespective of political party, ever attempting to overturn a U.S. election again.
So bottom line is this investigation isn't done even if the committee is forced to end on January 3rd?
I think that we will present a report, and what I look forward to is seeing our recommendations be implemented. And if you'll note, the 9/11 recommendations took several different administrations as well as different Congresses to be implemented across almost over a decade. And I imagine and I hope that that will happen with the recommendations that come out of the report we produce before the end of this year.
Of course, we hope we can implement these changes before the democracy itself is at risk again. Stephanie Murphy, Democrat from Florida, thanks for coming out and sharing your perspective with us.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.